Just a few fellas on a podcast, riffing in the pitching jokes and sharing some laughs. Rob Ryan, Brett, Jarret Bernstein. Ooh, they want to know if it's something, if it's anything. Often featuring Lady Corbin.
I was going to make fun of Rob's hair.
Oh, go ahead. We're recording.
That's the most important thing, Brett. So,
oh, Rob, you feel like you're gonna tell me about DMT or ayahuasca or something?
Rob, you look exactly like the guy who asked if he could pray for you while you were wearing those pants.
You look like you're going to tell my wife that you teach a tantric sex class while just ignoring me, and also you're the server.
Actually, my astral body is having sex with all of your wives right now.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really wild. I'm a douchebag, and I'm in touch with my.
There was a kid that I went to grade school with who grew up in the same neighborhood as me in Los Angeles, and the neighborhood that I grew up in was relatively affluent. It was called Brentwood. It's the reason why we live so close to O.J. Simpson. Like, it was a nice place to live. So then, cut to the early 2000s. You know, we're all on Facebook. It's like a relatively new thing. Everyone's on there checking it and everything. And this dude that I went to grade school with friends me. And he has gone full-on meditation guru, living in Thailand, you know, like hair down to here. And this is just like basically a preppy kid. But the thing that I always thought was so funny about it was everything he wrote was about, like, we're all connected to the energies of the universe, and it's so important to just get out in nature and realign your chakras and stuff. And I wanted to be like, you're on Facebook. What you're doing right now is Facebook. And then I think I unfriended him because I thought it was annoying. But if he's watching, you're all right with me, buddy. Keep it going.
Jarret's still playing the cool kid in Kids on Bikes.
I have been editing that episode like a little bit every day because it's 4 hours long. And so, yeah, Cole Donovan, that's just in there right now, man.
You know what's funny, Jarret, and you could tell me if I'm way off base here, but sometimes I see people's personality almost like a chosen personality. Sometimes, like, if someone does a lot of yoga and they really talk about it and preach it, it's because, at least in part, they had a life that was very stressed. They're trying to go to the other side of their natural inclinations. Okay. And so I'm like, yeah, of course you're into yoga. You need it. Like, if you didn't have this, you might whatever. And so I like, every once in a while, when I see you be super like chill about something, I perceive it as deep down you're like, I want to fucking murder this guy. I hate him so much.
Except this
everything
guy
about
is every Republican.
And so then what comes off to the world is like, you do you, man. You know, that's so cool, man. That's what it's all about. Just life, just live and let be. Rob, but there's like a childhood and adolescence of just pure, like,
unadulterated rage. Yeah. I mean, there's a kernel of truth there. I would say that, as funny as that is, it's a little off kilter. But I did have some rage issues when I was about like 7th or 8th grade, I would say. But a lot of that was connected to, like, the only way that I could express childhood trauma and the issues that I had with certain members of my family. But yeah, so it's in there.
Yeah, she's probably a real nightmare when you were in 8th grade.
Yeah.
What's in that fanny pack?
Oh, that's a great. Brett knows that story. Rob, do you know that story?
I don't think I know.
I think you told the story on the.
I thought I did tell the story on this podcast.
Well, then I know it. It's super cool. It's very funny.
I was trying to sneak. Softcore pornography out of the house in a fanny pack. And my mom caught me, and I probably put like decades of sexual shame into my brain, just like the way that my mom was like, "What are you taking outside of your fanny pack?"
To this day, Jarret can't use a fanny pack when having sex. It's really sad. It's very sad he can't
just start crying.
That.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, the best thing about like sex? Being a girl, going back to your apartment, and you're like, "Are we? You take out the fanny pack?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, clip that shit on. It's so hot.
Clip.
I can't do that.
Did you ever wear a fanny pack before you tried this move?
Yeah. Which is another thing that I'm endlessly embarrassed about. You know, that it was just like a regular thing.
But normally,
you know?
he wore the fanny pack like this. When there was softcore pornography in there, he wore the fanny pack like this.
Normally, I'd be like, normally I'd be like, see you later, Mom. I'm going outside with my fanny pack. And that time I was like, see you later, Mom. I'm going outside with my fanny pack. What's going on? How you guys been? I have a very specific question for Brett.
Ooh, okay.
Brett,
I want to hear it.
you had your first headlining gig at a club.
Yeah,
right?
I got a nice comedy club. It was really cool. It went really well. Not as many people were out. It was like sleeting and raining all day and snowing and stuff. But we still got a good 18 people out, and it was great. You know, my dad came with a couple of his friends.
Oh, cool.
He was like so excited. He was like, "You've grown so much as a comedian," which kind of felt like a backhanded compliment. I was like, "But you were proud of me last time, right?"
No, you don't understand. I knew you when you were a baby. you used to be able to talk or walk or anything. So your dad can say that.
His memory of you as a
fair.
comedian is like the first joke you told when you were like 6, and you were like, "What did the
Yeah, that was me to a T when I was 6. Very, very. I gave up very easily.
I have a home video of me telling a joke when I was maybe not 6, but I was probably 8. It is on Thanksgiving, and I am making fun of my mother for being drunk on Thanksgiving. And I'm telling my dad, and I go, "Hey, Dad, I bet when Mom goes to the liquor store, the guy's like, 'Hi, Linda, my favorite customer.'"
Oh my god!
And then
that's
he's
amazing.
like, that's great.
great.
Robert."
That's a really good. That's a great bit and a good burn too.
Yeah,
Like,
6 solid burn.
Comedy Central
Robin.
roasts on the phone. Like, we heard what you said to your
Who is
mom.
this kid?
If
What
that
do you
is
think about
an-
Bob Saget?
the closing moment of Zen at your one-man show, then I'll be very upset.
I should bring the clip in. If I have it, I'll show you guys at another episode.
That's incredible. So yeah, it went really, really well. You know, of course, I'm like, I dipped there. Or they got tired there. I should have put that stuff. Should have put more time prepping in it. I'm always confused on how I should structure my set for a longer set when I'm doing 45 minutes or more. Because my jokes are so short, I normally chunk them together in terms of similar subject. But I think for a crescendo, I want more of like an up incline in terms of strength of joke. And I know the strength of these jokes and how likely they are to get a huge hit. So I wanted to work on memorizing. Basically, I put all of my jokes into a spreadsheet and numbered their strength, and then
That
put
sounds
it
funny.
in order. And I wanted to memorize it, but it was just so hard because my jokes were so short that I was like, I'm just gonna have to do my regular 45 minutes. And it was really well. It went really well. But I was, of course, I'm like very critical of it till the head waitress came up to me, Jackie, and she was just like so sweet. She was like, "You crushed it," and I really, really mean that. Like, I texted Dino that you crushed it, the owner of the club, and I got a text from him that said, "I heard you crushed it. I'm proud of you." It was
great.
felt great. It was like
That's so nice. I love
I
that.
couldn't have gone better. I mean, it could have gone
great.
better, but of course, that's just the perfectionist. That is the litter robot.
Somebody
It
took a
is
poop.
cycling. Yep, and it was.
Was it Leedy? Is that what you got here?
Oh, errands, huh? Yeah.
All right, we're streaming at noon today, and she's over the litter box like, I'm not gonna be done in time yet.
Just tested out the new box. She's like, it works. Scoops it up all on its own. I want to just point out to the audience right now that Brett has most certainly headlined many, many shows. This was just a milestone that this was at a comedy club specifically. I've opened for Brett before, and he's certainly crushed and held an audience's rapt attention for 45 minutes and done really, really well. This was just a fun thing because it was like, oh, this is a structured comedy club where he doesn't have to set up his own show at like a winery or brewery or something like that, which is shows that I have certainly engaged and headlined in. Jarret, we've all done these do-it-yourself comedy shows, which are fun in their own way, but it's just nice to show up and have everything taken care of for you, and all you have to do is just focus on your set and entertaining people that night. That's kind of nice.
Absolutely. Instead of like, hey, here comes your headliner. It's the guy who was setting up chairs.
The guy who asked to see your tickets on the way in.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're in this age where the potential that you can just do it yourself and make your own career and make your own TV show and put it on YouTube and have it be successful. It's a very real possibility, but that doesn't take away the effect that these sort of establishments and gatekeepers still have on the entertainment industry. And for just a club, a stand-up comedy club to reach out and say, we want you, we like you, it still means a lot. At least to me, it does, you know?
Absolutely.
It does to me as well. I mean, and that's why it was such a big deal for me and such a benchmark. But specifically because I've had comedy clubs do that and then not book me. Where I haven't been even trying. I'm just like, you know, I'm not going to feel rejected if I don't ask to headline your club. But if you come to me and say, will you headline my club? And I'm like, sure. And then I send you in my availability and then you don't. I'm just like, well, now I just feel negged, you know? Now I just feel worse about something I didn't even necessarily wasn't trying to get yet.
Right.
So
now I'm sexually attracted to you.
Will you bang me, please?
I'll suck your dick. It's funny because I have the opposite thing where I do, you know, like feature spots, and then the owner comes up and he's like, "You fucking sucked, man." But then he books me for like 5 weekends. You know, that's a bit. That's all made up.
That's not true, audience.
That's great, man. I'm proud of you. I'm really excited that happened.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was cool. And I'll be back there May 4th. I'll be headlining
Opening?
again.
It was a roast. Is that you opening?
Actually, I was headlining May 4th and May 5th, and then Vic DiBitetto, who's like got a huge following, was like, he asked Dino, like, would it be all right if I actually headline on that Thursday? I got, you know, I need a date and stuff like that. And I love Vic, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I'd actually rather headline and then open for a huge sold out crowd.
Yeah.
Like that's totally fine with me. Okay. Same amount of money? Sure. Great.
Perfect.
Yeah, you know, I was like, there was a guy, I forget even who it was, but I was watching this person headline, and I was very actively engaged in that same thought process that you were, Brett, of like, how do I structure this exactly? Like, what would be the best way to order this 45 minutes? And I watched him, and he went up there, and for the first just 5 at least straight minutes, it was like really crusher material. It was just getting the crowd into a fever pitch. And it was almost like this proof that I can do that when I want to. And then after those like first 5 to 8 minutes, then he like completely cooled off, got the audience back down to like practically a 0. And then he like took a sip of his drink, chilled out, and then just kind of got into the pocket that way. And I was very charmed by that approach, because I thought, yeah, you know what? That's kind of cool. The audience, like, whoa, they just kind of got punched in the face with like a really hard hitting set for a bit. And then it's just like, I trust you. I know what you're capable of. And then he just was like able to do whatever he wanted. He did crowd work. He told longer stories. And then he ultimately structured it so that by the time the end again, he had some bit of like momentum. Like, it was fascinating how much he took the pressure off to be funny or be consistent. He's like, no, that's in me, and you got it. And then he really gave himself, he bought himself like 25 minutes worth of, he could do a lot of, not bad, but he could just change the pacing up. And I was like, oh, that's very, very, very cool.
Ah, cool.
100%.
So, yeah.
I went to go see one of Hannibal Buress's tapings, and as funny and amazing as I think Hannibal Buress is, he had this dip in the middle of his set where he was trying to keep up the pace that he had set with his opening. And it was just, the audience just started like losing steam, because they're just like, we just can't keep on laughing like that for the rest of this thing. And then, you know, he had like a really good closer and everything and got everybody back. But I remember sitting there and thinking like, oh yeah, you're going to need something in the middle there. If I ever get to a place where I can headline, you're going to need to have like a little cool off period, like somewhere in the middle there. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's big, especially with 45 minutes. You realize you're like, and pay close attention. When I'm paying close attention to headliners, I'm going, yeah, you're right. 45 minutes of straight laughter seems almost absurd to do. So you're creating your own lulls, and you're defining what a lull is even for you. That was something that was kind of cool. And then like some of the most fun I had during certain headlining sets was having something happen in the audience, and then recognizing that I'm at no risk of not getting material in. I am at no risk. I'm like, I can go ahead and just take this little journey, go ahead, interact with the crowd, have a little moment that's unique to the night, and then like very easily come back in, because my brain was so set on like 8-minute, 10-minute set, 15-minute thing, and I'm like, shut up, I gotta do a thing. But with like the hour, you're like, I don't have to get back to this joke right away.
Right.
I can do whatever I want, and the crowd's just like, wow. It shows that like he's so comfortable on stage, he just is allowing this thing to happen, then he just kind of casually comes back into this, and like embracing the silence, which is maybe a cliche at this point, but it's such a hard thing to do, where you're like, oh yeah, I can. Especially in an hour set, like they can. Not only can they need lulls to just like take a breath for a second, take a drink, even go to the bathroom, allow all that shit to happen. It's kind of a cool.
Wait, go to the bathroom
adjustment.
in the middle of your set?
I will say the other end of doing those do-it-yourself shows of like, I'm greeting you, I'm also the headliner, and was that I had total control. Like I could be like, there were several times where like, there's no bounce or anything. Somebody is talking and I go, hey, can you stop doing that? It's distracting. And then I go, hey, I asked you before, if you don't stop, I'm going to have to kick you out. And then third time being like, okay, everybody, we're taking a 5-minute intermission. And then I walk over to the table and be like, hey, you guys got to go.
Whoa,
and then
awesome.
If you walk up to their table and stop the show, like if you try to tell people to go in the middle of like where they feel like you're stuck up there and then they have the power and they're defensive, then they're really resistant. It'll be a fight and it'll make the show awkward. But if you just stop the show and walk up to their table and then put the confrontation there, they're like, okay, we'll go. Like every time they would just leave. And then I would be like, all right, we're starting back up again. And then I would just continue the show. Or I would, at the end of the show, I'd do like maybe 35, 40 minutes. And then I'd be like, you guys want some new jokes? Or you want me to just finish strong, the classics? And they would be like, every time, like, new jokes. I'm like, all right, take out my phone, just be like so casual about it with no concern of like, am I looking unprofessional or something like that? I'm like, I took your tickets. Like, I'm not, I'm professional in a different sense.
Yeah, that's true. And that's so funny that is where your comfort lies. Because I'm sure for a lot of comics, it's so much harder to get into that comfort zone where you're like, I'm going to do new material. I'm going to kick people out personally. Like, that is a level that I'm sure many professional comics are like, I would never want to do that.
I'm going to stop the show and hit on this girl for a little bit.
5-minute intermission, everybody.
All right, actually, it's going pretty well. Show's over.
It didn't go well at all. She is gone now.
Did I say 5 minutes? I meant 1 minute and 30 seconds. All right.
Let's get back to it.
Well, proud of you, buddy. That's awesome.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. What's going on with you? Anything new?
Woo, boy, howdy. Do I got stuff for you guys?
Woo, I can't wait to hear
boy,
it.
I was asking Rob.
I know that's not true because we don't ask Rob how he's doing.
He got me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that my brother watches any of this podcast.
I had that same experience.
And I don't know if he just selectively chose one thing to mention just to be like, you see, whatever, something you might do to a girl, be like, oh, that's kind of like your butterfly clip you wear in your hair. And I'm like, oh my God, I do wear the butterfly clip.
I'm going to fuck him in the public bathroom.
We get women on this podcast. We know how it works.
Rob, we agreed that we wouldn't tell anybody the close second place finisher for what we're going to title this podcast. We Get Women. Welcome to We Get Women. Brett and Rob.
Anyway, my brother said it was like in the middle of a text. It was in the middle of a group text. He's like, well, it's almost like how you don't like when like Jarret asks you like how your day was or whatever. You just want to come naturally. I was like, you paid attention. I was like, you know that fact about this show. That's so funny.
And he knows my name.
Weirdly enough, the fact that my brother dropped that where I was like, oh yeah, I guess you are watching this. Is he went, how often is Rob in Vegas?
Oh, that's
It's like there's like 5 episodes in a row where Rob's in Vegas.
That's really funny.
One time I thought I saw a gun. Rob, Brett's brother knows your name.
That's so cool. That's really awesome.
All right. So here's my thing, guys. So I don't know if you remember from a couple episodes ago, I announced that I had done a potency break because I had discovered that I was taking like a whole bunch of weed and not having the effects that I thought based on the milligram usage. This one weekend I took 55 milligrams and it really didn't hit me that hard. And I was like, man, oh man, I think I need to take a break. I've discovered that I did not need to take that potency break. The capsules that I was using had just expired.
Oh.
I know. One day I was like,
how did you figure that out?
These are very, very old, these capsules. So what would happen is Kirsten would go to the West Coast. She'd bring up like a whole bunch. And then we would just, have them, enjoy them, whatever. And then I would go on a trip. I would pick up something. And then I would just use that until that ran out and then go back to the old stuff. And then go on another trip and pick something up and then use that and then go back to the old stuff. Until finally I was like, this is the old stuff. What I'm referring to as the old stuff is old. And I was like, I'm pretty sure if you just leave weed capsules around, even though, they're in the dark and they're in a plastic bag or anything, they lose potency over time.
It's true. And with most drugs, actually. Yeah. I remember that with when I was addicted to painkillers is like, if you found some really old painkillers, they were not going to be as effective. But I do like to imagine that somebody is like, I don't have a problem. It's just, I think these are spoiled. This is spoiled heroin. Smell it. It smells bad. Right?
I got this like last week.
He just gave it to you. It's like, no, man, this is fresh.
You refrigerated this or what?
I just made it, man. This is a fresh batch of heroin here.
The scientific part of my brain says, how did you confirm this? Like, did you now take more recent drugs and go, oh boy, daddy's back at the fair? Did that happen to you?
That is not what happened. But I really took old data and sort of like recalibrated it, which I was like, before I thought I needed a potency break, I was taking 10 milligrams that I had just gotten from San Francisco and was like a very happy camper on 10 milligrams. And now I'm taking 55 and it's barely hitting me at all, I was like, something's rotten in Denmark here. And all similarly, I made a batch of weed brownies and those were knocking me out the way that they're supposed to, So I was like, I'm pretty sure based on that data and the fact of how long we've had these capsules for, I'm confident. But, if we're going to be good scientists, I do still need to test my hypothesis a little bit more.
I always freeze my edibles.
Freezing is a good thing to do. We have not. And it is...
I was like, Jared's gonna say something that makes me feel really, really dumb. Like he knows something about how freezing, works.
Yeah. I was expecting the same thing. I was like, let's hear Professor Jarret talk about what happens when you freeze weed.
Misdirect.
Well, while freezing is good for edibles, I didn't do that. The more you know.
Freezing wouldn't actually work for us because we haven't done it.
Well, we were on our way to the movies and I told Kirsten this theory and she was like, I don't think weed capsules go bad. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they do go bad. And I was like, neither of us are scientists, so I think we can just have to agree to disagree on this. She was like, no, we should look it up. And I looked it up and it was like, they start losing efficacy in like 90 days, like something ridiculous. And we've had these for a while and they recommend storing them in the freezer or in the fridge. So I was like, all right, mystery solved.
You got to freeze those eggs.
Just like you got to freeze those eggs. If you are looking to freeze your eggs.
Yeah, if you're a lady and you're not sure if you want kids or not. So that's the more you know.
Or if your eggs are just like way too warm. You know what I mean?
keep them on ice.
Put them in the fridge there. So that's number one. Number two that I got for you guys is I am always coming up with a new theory as to why I still have relatively bad reflux. And, it goes through up and downs where I'm like, it's a lot better this week. It's not as good this week. What did I change? What do I need to change? And the last thing that I did was I made my meals like a lot smaller. And I was like, and it made me feel so good. I had the longest stretch of I feel close to normal that I have in a very long time. I got very emotional about it too. But then it happened again. And I was like, shit. And the one thing that I changed was I went back to trying to do a vegan diet. I switched my chicken to tofu. And I just sort of like all came rushing back. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I have like a soy allergy or something. So the tofu is gone. I'm back on chicken. I'm back on small meals. And now we're like back in the cycle of like, okay, let's see if we can figure this out, starting from scratch again.
Wow. When you were really emotional, Kirsten, like, what's wrong? And you were like, nothing. Literally nothing for the first time. Nothing's wrong. It's amazing. I feel terrible.
That's not that far off from what happened.
Oh, man.
We were just talking about it, and she was like, are you excited about like going out to restaurants again and not just eating the same 3 meals every single fucking day? And I was like, I am. I really am.
Oh.
Yeah,
Jarret.
Right now, I'm in the middle of sort of a tapering episode. Like I had a bad episode on Wednesday, and then it usually takes a couple days to heal. And so this is where we'll find out, like tomorrow or the next day, if I don't have symptoms again, if I'm back on the right track.
So I may have missed a moment. When you went back to the tofu, that was good for you or that was bad for you?
That was bad. That was bad. I had a great week, and I was like, all right, maybe I can go back to being a vegan. That sounds like something great, So the only thing I did was I substituted chicken for tofu, and I started having like really bad episodes again.
But how will you, if you have to give up tofu, how will you be such a soy boy?
It's true.
I'm hoping that just my political opinions will make me count as a soy boy.
Okay, cool.
Which, here's a fun fact. If you are a soy boy, but you eat meat, you still have a reduced carbon footprint, just by virtue of your opinions being so
that's
cut.
very interesting.
You know what I mean?
Well, now you're back to chicken. So he went from cut to cluck, everybody. He is.
Hey, Rob Ryan.
It's back to chicken.
Oh my God, Comedy Central roasts on the phone for Rob Ryan this time.
Back to the chicken.
Remember that kid that was so hot with his alcoholic mom? He's back.
Listen to this. That's how Jarret travels back to the chicken. He uses the reflux capacitor.
Whoa! I am less entertained by that as I am impressed, because that was like 3 callbacks mixed together.
You're on fire. Much like the tire tracks would be behind you if you went 88 miles per hour with a flux capacitor.
I don't know if you guys know, but Kristen Key, she has a podcast where she, you just talk about one thing basically. Mm-hmm. It's like, and my thing was Back to the Future, and we got through like practically nothing in the podcast because the first question I like launched into like an hour-long monologue, and then she's like, "Well, time to go."
Well, this is part 1 of our 4-part episode, I guess.
I was like, oh, wow, I can talk about Back to the Future for quite a long time.
All right, so we've gotten to the part where the opening credits are done. We haven't even seen Marty McFly's face yet. All we've seen is him going around turning dials.
Actually, half the episode was me detailing a Twitter argument I was having with someone who I felt got the mechanics of time travel totally incorrect about Back to the Future. It took me forever to explain. I'm like, this is why he's wrong. This is why.
Rob, any tickets on your button?
Anything grinding your gears?
Anything grinding my gears?
Is that lately? Button hot? You got to freeze it with your eggs?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, everything's been good lately. I can, if anything naturally comes up, I'll let you know.
Does putting your hair in a bun make you cooler or hotter?
Temperature-wise, cooler.
Temperature-wise, I meant.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant sexy-wise, because then definitely hotter.
Oh, yeah, answer both.
I'm definitely hotter as a person, but I am cooler. I think what this did for me is just ease, because it was a lot of like, it's in my way, it's in my face, I put it back in a ponytail, I take it out of the ponytail. But I noticed when I just put a little mousse in it and then top bunned it, I didn't think about it all night. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. I could just do that and I don't have to really concern myself with it.
All right. Well, should we get to the bits then, y'all? If we're all done with our catch-ups?
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. All right. Guess the order if you'd like to. Otherwise, Jarrett's going to throw it out right here.
Guess the order if you want to. There's a chance that you will get it right. There's a limited set of options for you to guess. So give it your best shot. What'd you
amount of time. Sorry.
All right, we got no guesses. So our order this week is Rob, Jarret, Brett. Rob, Jarret, Brett. Rob, Jarret, Brett.
Right.
Order this week is Rob, Jarret, Brett.
I'm going to start with a little bit of a one-liner idea I had. People say I destroyed that girl's pussy. I say I had to put her cat down. It's not as sexy. I think the message is similar.
I love it. I would like to hear the reaction of people like not understanding what you're talking about. Like like they don't make the connection at all. You're like, how to go with Lorraine last night? Like, I had to put her cat down. They're like, oh my god, why? What did you have to do it? Did you know her cat that well? Are you not a vet?
I want more saying in a sexy voice the things that you would say when you're putting an animal down. Like, I had to tell her niece that we sent it to a farm upstate.
I had a consultation with a veterinarian, and we were running out of options, and so
I saw this Reddit comment once that went viral about how a lot of people don't stay in the room when you put an animal down, but you're their entire lives, these pets, and to not be there in their final moments, it's just heartbreaking. They look around the room for you before they die. So please be brave and stay with them in their final moments.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, there was something funny about the specificity of what people really do go through when they're putting an animal down or something like that. Like, yeah, we had to go in. The stomach was twisted. They can't. There's nothing you can do at that point. I had to put the cat down. Oh! High five, high five, high five. I crushed that pussy.
For a long time, I was worried about her cat's quality of life. And at a certain point, it just seemed like it would be a mercy.
She was 15. She had a good. That's actually horrible. I don't like that.
That makes me like it more, Rob. 2 thumbs up. I approve.
Thanks. I had another idea that wasn't really a joke at all, but it was just a curiosity of mine now that some time has passed. Jarret, maybe you'll appreciate this. It's about Donald Trump. Because now I see him just in interviews and stuff like a year post-presidency. He just doesn't seem like you know how like even George W. Bush, there was like a veneration to him where it's like clearly the office changed him to some degree. It's like you look at that guy's eyes and you can tell like, oh, he saw some stuff and he had like the weight of the world on his shoulders. Donald Trump just like he got like younger like in office, like he just coasted. He was the least stressed out president we've ever had, ever. And I don't feel like he learned anything. Like I don't think he knows anything more about government now than he did before. He still talks like he's just like a grandpa in an armchair. I'm like, don't you know some of these things? Didn't anybody brief you on how the country works?
He was doing that while he was president. You know?
Yeah.
There were times when like a political podcast I listened to would talk about like his latest grievance, and they would be like, you can go across the street and find that out. You know, like you can go ask.
Yeah.
Go ask. You're the president. You know, you have the authority.
You don't have to say people are saying anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who the people are.
There's a lot about that observation that I jive with. The one thing that I don't is the fact that he's like somehow younger, because what I see is a person whose rambling has become worse and more doddering and less coherent. Whereas before, there was some attachment, especially like in 2015, to actual grievances that regular Americans had. If you try to listen to the things that Donald Trump is saying right now, it's complete gobbledygook unless you already watch Fox News, because there are all these conspiracy theories. They don't make sense to a regular person. They're in the language of Fox News exclusively. You know what I mean? But otherwise, I think that's completely spot on. Yeah. If you don't do any work, you can't get stressed out.
Yeah. And it just made me further wonder how shielded he was from the actual day-to-day like decision-making of things. Because it just... Or maybe he's just a sociopath and it never affected him. You know, like
I think it might be that one.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can't if every time there's a briefing you're just going, and then in your own world, then of course you're not going to learn anything or be shaken or anything like that.
Yeah, the briefings, from what I know, were all him being like, "This is boring. I don't understand it. Can you chop it? Hey, wrap it up. You know, like I don't understand this." Basically that was it, you know. And the presidential daily briefing went from being like this binder to being a one sheet, and then eventually the one sheet was mostly like pictures. Because he was like, he literally was like, there's too many words on this, you know? Which is
I remember hearing about that, like what they had to go through in order to keep his attention during briefings. And I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. This guy doesn't, I guess that's where I was leaning towards like, does he even like let him in on the process of what's going on? Like, this is so insane. All the other presidents, they leave. Like Barack Obama, how old was he when he?
Dizzy by Nature says they aren't conspiracy theories; they're conspiracy hypotheses. They just don't know the difference. Hey, everybody. What a way to make your entrance, Dizzy. But I also don't even know the difference there, like conspiracy theory and conspiracy hypothesis.
Well, theory is tested with data, and hypothesis is literally just the first part of it.
So the theory is
I think this is happening. All right, cool. Then it is.
So a theory is something that you get at the end of the scientific method?
Yeah. I mean, there's theories that people are like, that's just a theory, and you're like, well, there's some really solid, strong theories that we're not going to consider a law yet, just because it's a highly tested, highly proven theory. It doesn't exclude it from that title in the scientific world, for sure.
Yeah, a hypothesis can be literally based off of nothing, whereas I think a theory is more data based.
So I'm looking up some ages. Bill Clinton, 46 years old when he came into the presidency. George W. Bush, 54. Barack Obama, 47. And these guys all left, with some serious aging scars. And it looks like Donald Trump went to like Denny's, and then he came out and he's like,
he's got a little grease on his face.
Now you see, that tracks with me better, because when you finish eating like a big meal at Denny's, you are a little sluggish.
A little sluggish.
A little.
He took a hit, but not like
not like Obama did.
Leaving Denny's is perfect. I really like that. That's very funny.
Yeah.
All right, great.
He just, he's no worse for wear. He just feels grosser.
Dizzy says, first of all, he says I nailed it, and then he says gravity is also a theory. Because it's not nothing. I mean, nothing in science is necessarily proven. It's just like proven so far,
right? And a little bit better. And
you can only prove something to not be false yet. I finished the 3-body problem, by the way. It's part of a trilogy. I didn't know that.
Ooh, speaking of gravity,
yeah. Spoiler. Not really a spoiler. What did you think of it, Jarret?
It's good. It's really, really good. There were a couple quibbles that I have with it, but on the whole, 2 thumbs up. Very entertaining read. Can't wait to read the second book.
Just to clarify one more time, this is about how to successfully have a threesome with your girlfriend without her getting upset.
That is correct. Yep. Yeah, your body is one, your girlfriend's body is the second body, and the third body is the man or woman that you have introduced into your sexual experience.
Known as a unicorn.
Yes, that is correct.
One of the quibbles that Jarret has is that it didn't work. Person's very upset.
I had real blue balls. I had a 2-ball problem throughout reading the whole thing. Anything else for or from Rob Ryan?
I am good on my front.
Wahoo!
All right. Great stuff, Rob. Thanks for sharing with us. Next up, I think we have Dorothy.
Yeah, Dorothy. Okay, so I have 2 things for you guys. I have one thing that might be a tweet and another longer bit that... I just wrote today, actually. I'm very pleased with that.
I like to imagine that you've already tweeted this and you're like, what is this?
I have not tweeted it yet.
I love the same thought. I had food in my mouth, but I was like, is this an Instagram post or is this a tweet? Well, is it on Twitter? Are they words or a
have
picture?
I hit tweet yet?
Okay. It almost feels like an Eric Bergstrom joke, which is why I'm like, okay.
Ooh, tell it like him. Tell it like him.
I will definitely tell it like him. All right. The opposite of relaxed fit jeans is existential dread fit jeans.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love that joke.
I think it's a tweet unless you can follow it up with a tag.
The tag that I was thinking of, because there is a thing called distressed jeans.
Yeah,
which
that's true.
I was debating between which is funnier, distressed jeans or existential dread fit jeans.
Maybe the tag should say machine wash cold.
Machine. Is that a serious suggestion?
Well,
I wasn't sure if that was a bit or not.
Well, it's
tag
jeans.
on the tag on the jeans.
Oh, okay. Got
It took me a second too. I also was like, what?
I got confused. I was like, what did I just say? No one's laughing.
Nobody knows who said it. Everyone's just like, what? Hell, where did that come from?
I was like, I thought I did a tag on jeans joke.
Did you smush?
I thought maybe I said something wrong.
So my only question here is there room for distressed jeans somewhere in this joke?
In a relaxed fit jean, there is room, but if it
Okay,
was
moving on.
what?
Moving on.
No. Let's keep going with it.
Well, distressed, I think, is less common or definitely less known, maybe than the
Then
relaxed
relaxed
fit.
fit. Okay.
Plus, it's also not distressed fit, so it's just distressed
Yeah.
as in the material and what it actually looks like.
Okay.
What if you say what was the second one? The opposite of is
The opposite of relaxed fit jeans is existential dread fit jeans.
or
the opposite of
as
relaxed
Levi
fit
says,
jeans.
rugged.
That's really funny. I like that. All right. Not to spend too much time on this, let's get to the meat and potatoes. You ready?
Oh, I like that one.
We can talk about it more if you like.
No, I'll just think it through.
I liked it.
All right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about being in a relationship is that I don't feel like I need to look nice when I leave the apartment anymore. I'm not trying to impress anybody. So now I leave the house looking like straight trash 100% of the time. No shave, no shower, food stains everywhere. The only time I try to look presentable when I leave the house is when I go pick up drugs from my drug dealer, because I don't want my drug dealer to think that I'm ruining my life with his drugs. I don't need him to have a crisis of conscience the next time I try to go pick up mushrooms. Like, are you sure you want to buy these, dude? Things going okay at work, at home?
I think you got some growing out of the pizza stain on your shirt.
Next time I try to buy, he tells me to meet him at a rehab center instead. And that's my bits. What do you guys think?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off you the
okay.
last part of the joke.
I was pausing because I was trying to figure out a way to connect that tag that I had. I was like, is there... Okay. So then when you tagged it, I was like, now it just seems like I'm riffing.
Yeah.
All right. Any thoughts, y'all?
Yeah, I think that is very funny. What other things do jeans do?
We want to play with the other jokes some more.
They have pockets. You're reminding me of the other joke that you were talking about about impressing women. No, not having. What was the joke?
Not having to talk to women because I'm in a relationship. Whereas when I was single, I felt like I had to go talk to a woman if I was attracted to her. Otherwise, I was being a little weenie about not going to talk to the girl.
Right.
But now I'm being a hero by not talking to a girl.
Yeah, I was just thinking if that joke needed a home, you kind of done a lot of the heavy lifting already as far as the premise is concerned. And that's always a nice thing when you don't have to like reestablish a premise. So you could it's like all part of the same chunk. Chunk. It's a technical term that comedians use.
It means before you do a bit, you go, first you got to do the truffle shuffle. Deep cut. Deep cut. Goonies.
Goonies.
Google it.
I think that this is a very relatable bit for me. So that's all I can really say is that I definitely have like stopped being good about like making sure I look good when I leave the house, because I'm like, the only person that matters is in my house, and she doesn't care. I mean, actually, it's one of the worst things about Lydia is she's like always like, you look so handsome. And I'm like, I look terrible. And now I have no motivation to not look terrible.
That's just what happens when people love you, Like I'm sitting there. Kirsten had a work drinks last night. She looked amazing. And I was in gray workout shorts and a t-shirt that was too big for me that says, my dog and I talk trash about you. She came home and she was like, oh, God, look at you. And I was like,
I was going to say that when, does that ever come home to roost? Maybe is the expression like you're not caring to go out, but then what happens? You kind of already answered it in a very sweet and genuine way. But is there a joke version of like, but what am I giving to my fiance? Like when I do come home, has that, instead, or maybe it's like, where has the anxiety levels actually gone up? Maybe you don't take care of yourself now, but is there other aspects of the thing? Like now it's just, I want to make sure the apartment's clean for when she comes home. I just have to make sure I did it. Something that balances I don't have to care about what I look like when I go out, but I do have to X, Y, Z.
Make sure I get drugs.
Well, here's my question is, because the thing that I think is super funny about this is trying to not worry your drug dealer.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I'm wondering, like, is that too big of a leap between what I like about being in a relationship and not having to worry about my drug dealer. I think that there's like a really funny connective tissue there, but I'm also worried that if I start that joke, the audience is going to be like, oh, this is going to be a joke about how, you know, you're not looking good for your fiance, or, you know, like you see somebody out on the street and you look like trash or something like that.
What if you're like, but now my drug dealer thinks I'm trying to fuck him?
That's cool, I guess. That's a good idea.
This is an odd critique, but it because of the hard pivot, it almost kind of, it's starting to remind me more of like the way certain late night jokes go, where it's like, I don't care what the intro is, we're eventually going to be like, but Donald Trump, you know, or it's just like this hard pivot back to this thing. And I don't know, almost as if, exactly as you said, you do have a lot of drug jokes, and so here you have this relationship thing, and then it's like back to the drug dealer again.
Back to drugs.
Like,
back to drugs. Yeah, maybe this would be cleaner if I just left out the part about being in a relationship, and I was just like, you know, even before I was in a relationship, I never used to care what I looked like when I left the house.
I do like the reason that you got there, and it could be the placement of this joke with the thing that you already mentioned with the relationship. Like I said, that can do a lot of heavy lifting for you already. You're like, yeah, even my personal hygiene, like, you know, because I'm in this thing, it's that. Then you're already like halfway through the setup, and that's not even close to true, right? I mean, like, has that ever even
I don't know,
remotely happened?
The moral foundation of drug dealers probably not high, you know.
Okay, is there any self-consciousness on your... So here's another weird kind of thing. You're almost like morally concerned that he's going to be morally concerned, which I find interesting. Are you, could it come from a place of almost like embarrassment? Like, there's something funny to be that you almost be like, I'm not like, like on the street. Like, I live... over there. I meet you here, but I live over there. I'm
doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty...
I live on the 15th floor. Thank you very much.
Okay, man. Whatever, buddy. I don't give a shit. Like, that always makes me laugh more. It's like, I don't care. Like, no, just so you know, this isn't like a problem. I pay rent and
I'm a stand-up comedian. I have like 20 dates on the books already, man. Don't you worry about me, pal. And I'm on time. No, for me, it was more like, I don't want him to not sell me the drugs. You know, like, I'm not worried that he's going to think that I'm a piece of shit. I'm worried that he's going to have a crisis of conscience and think I shouldn't sell this person drugs. I need to make that more clear then, I guess.
Yeah, but now I have a logic issue with that. I mean, I could understand a bartender having a legal responsibility to cut you off, but a drug dealer... Does a drug dealer have any legal, moral, ethical, or any responsibility to be like, I don't know, buddy?
That is true, but I also think that's what I like about it, is that I'm creating a character of a caring drug dealer.
Well, then it's like I'm going to argue that it might go one step too far for me, or I'm like I have to assume that you're doing this thing, that you look bad enough to be this thing, and then I have to assume that this guy has got a certain moral, propensity to not even want to do this thing, and the only reason it makes you upset because you might not get the drugs, which, by the way, are total like non-starter drugs, and we're talking about weed, maybe some psychedelics. It's not even like you're talking about heroin.
Usually doesn't destroy your life. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I have two ideas. One is that in the earlier in your set, I know you mentioned that how your drug dealer is the person who got you through the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have that bit.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
If you mention and part of that is because he checks in with me, then they could just be a total callback. Like, you can then blow out that he's this compassionate drug dealer or something like that.
That's really funny.
The other thing is that you're afraid that he might suggest harder drugs after looking at your sweatshirt.
Ooh,
that's funny.
Okay.
That he might be like, "Oh, you sure you just want some weed, man? You're kind of dressed a little bit more meth."
You look like one of my heroin customers. This is why I got confused.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Well, what's funny? The reason I was asking about the veracity of this was not to cut down the joke in any way. It was to maybe suggest that you take an entirely different approach. Instead of the I wonder if blah blah blah, you just say this thing did happen. But I just thought it was a little bit too big of a leap for the drug dealer to be like, so I went, it was so bad, I went to my drug dealer one day and he said XYZ. But Brett's new line actually solves that for me, which I think would be very funny. But it's like, I got so bad, I went to my drug dealer one day and instead of selling me weed, he was like, would you like meth? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't know, you look...
I'm happy.
Well, that's the thing that I like about it, and I know I'm arguing. It's like basically like trying to explain to the audience why they should have laughed at a joke. Like to me, it's so funny that even if we do have this idea in our head of the non-compassionate drug dealer, that I would look so bad that they would start to question their life choices. Like I shouldn't be doing this if it's doing that to a person.
Right.
But
again, if that's too big of a stretch, if it breaks it, then I gotta get
what
back
if that's
in the
step
studio.
2? What if step 1 is that he offers you a harder drug, and then you're like, wow, can my appearance actually affect him that much? Like, what would I have to do to make him start feeling bad about what he's selling? How would I have to show up? He's like missing teeth and stuff, where he's like, I don't think I can actually sell you anything.
Yeah, I guess it's just the thought on top of the thought on top of the thought, because like you're worried that he's worried about. I'm just like. Yeah, that's just a whole play that you've come up with.
Actually, the thought on top of the thought on top of the thought is the 3-body problem about.
That's the thought on top of the thought on top of the thought. Yeah.
That idea makes me laugh just by itself because it's like it's just 3 thoughts, and usually you would have at least one non-thought in there. That's all unicorns together.
That's why it's such a problem. Otherwise, it would.
It's like they forgot to keep track. They were at the club, they were like drinking bottles of champagne. All of a sudden, the lights came on, and there were the only 3 thoughts left. And they were like, "Well, I guess should we just fuck each other? I don't know."
Or maybe they all think they're the unicorn, and they just keep asking questions like, "So how long have you two been together?" And for whatever reason, they're just like, "What are you talking about?" And, anyways, how did you guys meet? I met tonight.
That's how a unicorn was made. It was like a horse, a hippo, and a rhino. And they're like, what do we do? Should we fuck? I don't even know. That's a unicorn.
It's just fuse.
Oh, God. My cheeks hurt. All right. Thanks so much. Unless there are any other thoughts,
Marley.
Guys? Excellent notes. Very much
I just want to say that it is a very relatable thing for me. I mean, I have had the thought of like, isn't it funny that I am just like seeing this girl that I love every day and just wearing sweatpants and stuff. But when I'm like, ooh, I got to go to the grocery store, better comb my hair, better trim my beard and stuff like that. I think that is a weird thing that is definitely taken note for me.
All right. Let's see if I can flesh that part out a little bit.
Last night, Lee said, she's like, you're so handsome. And this is right before bed. And I just stared at her and I went, I need antacids, and left.
Ooh, been there. Stop! I'm gonna finish. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's it for this bit. Thank you very much. Next up, we got Brett Druck. Before we get to that, just want to remind everybody to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ITAPod. Hottest Patreon on the block. This is the Patreon that everybody wants to fuck. It has got the best exclusive content, additional episodes. We got us playing Kids on Bike. We got the sleepover. We got at the movies, talking about the Matrix. We've got additional tiers at higher levels, but you can join for as little as $1 a month. All the live shows are on there, patreon.com/ITAPod. And next up, Rob's looking it up right now, patreon.com/ITAPod. And next up, we got a Brett Druck.
I will say, one of my favorite things to do, I think from our first Patreon episode, is to say to Lady, watch your feet. So if you are a Patreon member, you know what that is about.
That was the first high writing challenge, but not
first
the
high
first
writing
Patreon
challenge. That's
episode.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. That still makes me laugh. And we talked about how Magawa passed away, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Very sad. Okay. This is a real quick one. Whenever somebody says to me, fun fact, rarely when they're done talking do I go, wow, that was fun. While you were telling me that, I was thinking, man, I'm having fun.
Like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Oh, that house was built in the 15th century. Woo!
Was that your planned tag, Brent? And then I just
I just made that up.
Oh, okay.
Made that up right now.
Oh, great.
I was worried that I jumped on it.
I like the idea of being like, hey, Bill, just tell him what you just told me about giraffes. Don't tell him. This is gonna be fun. This is hold on. I want you to hear this too.
Put down his arm guard or whatever they call it on roller coasters, the safety bar, before you tell him, because
You're gonna want to strap in for this one.
yeah.
This was
God.
fun.
My heart's going like a mile a minute after hearing that.
Oh my God! Remember last night about the historic castles? God, that was
Oh man,
fun.
wish I was still young enough to find that out. I've never woken up just like, oh my God, oh last night I just learned the funnest fact. I mean, it was too fun.
Oh my God! Did you tell me last night that bees attack other bee colonies? Did that happen? Oh my God! Whoa!
What about
what
this?
a night.
What about this? Hey, you want to hear a fun fact? Oh, I don't know. I'm 42. I already had 3 fun facts already. If I have one more, I'm not going to be able to get to the gym in the morning. You know? Remember when you were young and you'd get like 20 fun facts like all in one night, you know? Just bam, 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 bam. And then wake up, take a nap, and you can go to work still, you know? No, not
Hey, you want to hear a
anymore.
fun fact? I don't know. I think my college days are past me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I love this joke idea and concept, and for my money, I want to hear so many fun facts throughout the course of this. Like
That's really what I was realizing while we're
Yeah.
taking this. I was like, I need to
wanna-
look up more fun facts that are not
Yeah.
fun at all.
and whether I hear the whole thing or half of the thing, whatever. Like, hey,
Right.
did you know that you're like do you know that African swallow? I can't. I'm 42, man. I can't. I couldn't possibly right now. Thank you, though. Thank you.
What if somebody told you half of a fun fact, but they didn't tell you the fun part yet, and you just like either lose your mind like a drug addict who needs to get their fix, or it's like you know, like the sexual tension has been built so much that you just become like an animal. You know what I mean? I don't have a good act out for that, but those are just ideas.
So almost like I would react to it like I'm like a sex crazed person at a sex party. Like that's the fun for me when they're telling the fun fact. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's more like edging. You know, like they don't tell you the fun part yet.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea.
Did you know that bees? I'm like, oh, okay, go.
You know that after different ant colonies go to war with each other. Don't tell me yet.
I like the idea of you're going out. You tell your girlfriend, your wife, you know, that it's just gonna be a normal night, and you're just checking in. You're like, hey, baby, yeah, we're just hanging out. Do you know most elephants weigh less than the tongue of a blue whale? Guys, you should
Oh, you guys are doing fun facts. I thought it was going to be just chill, hanging out.
No, it's just super key laid back. Seahorses are monogamous and mate for life. Guys, what the fuck are you doing?
It sounds like you guys are doing a bunch of fun facts over there.
It sounds like you're having a lot of fun facts over there.
Aaron brought some fun facts over, but just for him. That's the only for him.
I'm not even participating. I won't even
He's doing
remember
it.
these fun facts. I don't even know.
I'm not enjoying them. I think they're just regular facts. Honestly, I can't wait to get home.
Maybe you know you have the funnest facts. I can't wait to get home and we just tell each other fun facts. You know?
Yeah, so guys, fun fact, I am getting a divorce. That's it. Hope you're happy.
Woo, good fun fact, buddy. Wow!
Wow, ow, 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 fun fact. Yeah, just do a line and just that's the other one. Just do a bump of coke and then have another fun fact. Dude, I love this concept so much. This is like so up my alley. I think it's great.
It feels a little bit today like when you mention that somebody's been Me Too'd, it's kind of like in the vein of a fun fact. Like when you mess with somebody's like, oh, you know, he made Firefly, Joss Whedon, a great writer. Me Too'd though. You know, fun fact. Me Too'd.
Yeah, that's coming up so much more often. And it's just like I don't even know how to like. What do I even do in those little moments where I'm like, oh, did you ever see, you know, I just mentioned some 1993 film, and then it's just like this quick, there's like a game in order to find whoever was involved with that film, either director, writer, actor, producer, and then like point out the worst thing they ever did in their lives. And I'm like, yeah, well, I was just going to say there was a line that I liked from that movie. But I guess that's true. He cheated on his wife.
I think it's called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon grab somebody's ass.
I was gonna say I did this on an episode recently when we were talking about Louis C.K. I think maybe where you just drop a canceled in there just so people know we're acknowledging it.
We're acknowledging it.
Talking about something else though. You know, did you guys ever see Firefly? Canceled. It makes it sound like it's about the TV show and not the person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
so funny.
there might be a joke in there. I think
Firefly was canceled.
Yeah, it was canceled.
Yeah, Firefly canceled. The writer and the show.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's just like-
Fox really ahead of their time canceling Joss Whedon.
That's a tweet.
Yeah.
There is something to the idea that you just can't casually bring something up without, mentioning all the. I'm aware of. I did do this the other night. I was trying to tell a Louis C.K. joke because it just so perfectly came up, and I actually, just to avoid the whole fucking shit show, I was just like, some comic one time said this, and I was like, I just need you to know the joke. It's great, but I don't need the fucking conversation on the side. At the end of it all, I said, just so you know, it was Louis C.K. I knew who it was. And they're like, oh, did you know he would? I'm like, yes, of course.
I love that. It's like, I forget what comic said this, but he was like, the other day I was making chocolate cake for my kids. That
I don't know who said it. No.
I don't know who it was. Let's see here. What do you mean? Is there like one project that's like the most canceled project of all time? Like a Harvey Weinstein film starring Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Written by Joss Whedon. Something
The
like
dream team. It would be here's the thing, it would be a fucking fire film. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is.
Whatever this movie is, it's gonna be excellent because
Directed by
Weinstein
Woody
came
Allen.
out with bangers. Woody Allen's an excellent director. Kevin Spacey is a fantastic actor. Scored by Michael Jackson.
Great writer. Yep.
Joss Whedon's a great writer. This is gonna be the best, worst film you'd never see.
Oh, wait, well, now we got a tweet for Rob.
Yeah, that is kind of up my alley of like, what am I dancing on here? What's the line here?
What am I dancing on? Is it Thin Ice? I don't know. Whatever.
It is to the point where it's like, if you're telling a story or something like that, you just, if you don't know, you're talking about a film or something, you just kind of leave a pause for anybody to interject, who's been canceled in there. Yeah, I was watching The Godfather the other day. Anyways, it's that one scene. It's amazing. It's
Robert De Niro. You're like,
God damn it. I gave you a pause.
I just I like the little research team. Just like, we got nothing, sir.
They give you a thumbs up to go ahead with the story.
We gotta nail this motherfucker. We have to interrupt this story.
It would be funny if it was like they missed the big obvious one, like.
There's got to be. Yeah, I'm sure that has happened. Where they go for the smaller fish to fry.
What if they're like trying to tell a story about Eddie Murphy and then it completely checks out? Everyone's like, yeah, no, Eddie Murphy's good. Eddie Murphy's good? All right. And then you tell the joke where he drops all the F-bombs,
Well, now we all have new bits to work on from that bit. Love it.
Yeah, great.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Good feedback. I'm excited about that joke. And I think now, since we have no Leedy today,
outro there.
All right.
Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you got to join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITApod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.